This is WENY News at 11.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Aisha McKenzie. Thanks for choosing WENY News at 11. Well, we have some winter weather advisory in effect overnight, so we're going to head straight over to Chief Meteorologist Joe Veras, who has more on those icy conditions. Joe?
All right, thanks a lot, Aisha. Yeah, we do have winter weather advisories now in effect for the entire viewing area. This until 7 o'clock in the morning. Now, this is not going to be a significant weather event by any means across the Twin Tiers. In fact, the precipitation overnight tonight will be very light and spotty, and only trace amounts of ice are expected, but that's enough for the National Weather Service to issue that advisory. Let's switch over to the radar right now, and we'll track some of this precipitation. Again, here in our studios in Horseheads, we're looking at dry conditions, but we've already gotten some reports of some icing to the north and east over northeastern areas of Chemung County, parts of Tioga County, and then up towards Tompkins County as well. Basically where you see the blue on the radar indicating some light drizzle falling. This could tend to fill in a bit more and back to the south and west here as we go through the overnight period. So that's why that advisory has been issued. But again, these amounts will be very light going through the overnight period. 33 our current temperature at the Elmira Corning Regional Airport, westerly wind at 5 miles an hour. 31 in Corning, and in Penn we're at 30 in Ithaca. Over towards Lakemont, 33 there, and 29 in Erin. So our first forecast for the rest of tonight: cloudy skies, drizzle in a few locations, could result in black ice down to 27 degrees. And then for tomorrow, lingering clouds, a flurry or two will be possible. It will remain chilly with a 5-degree guarantee of 32. Finally, looks like some sunshine will break through the clouds over the weekend, but then our weather turns stormy again as we go towards Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. More on the extended forecast in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Joe. Streets are now open after an accident involving a car and a pedestrian. Police shut down Walnut Street between Water and Church and part of Gray Street in Elmira while they investigated. The accident happened around 5:30 tonight. Police say the pedestrian who was hit left the scene but was later picked up on the south side and taken to Robert Packer Hospital. The extent of the pedestrian's injuries are unknown at this time. Police say the driver is being cooperative. A 5-year-old boy was abducted from a home in Albany County early this afternoon, setting off an Amber Alert in New York, Vermont, and Massachusetts. Police say Kenneth Smith was reportedly being watched by his legal guardian's 19-year-old daughter in the town of Bern around 1:30 this afternoon. That's when two suspects wearing all black and ski masks forced themselves into the home and took the 5-year-old victim. The suspects were seen fleeing the scene in a black 4-door pickup truck. Smith is described as a white male with brown hair and brown eyes, 45 pounds, 3 feet, 5 inches. If you have any information, please call 1-866-NYS-AMBER. The Islamic Association of the Finger Lakes may be getting a new place of worship in Chemung County. WENY's Leanne DeRosa joins us now with the story. Leanne?
Aisha, the Islamic Association of the Finger Lakes was established in the 1980s, but never actually had a mosque. Now it's working towards building one in Big Flats. For more than 30 years, the Islamic Association has been holding its daily prayer services in this old fire station. Congregation leader Zaman Marwat didn't want to speak on camera, but told me over the years the congregation has grown a lot. Now prayer services average between 50 and 60 people, and they've outgrown this small location. But now, after planning for a while, Marwat says he and the congregation are very excited to see the mosque in the works. The mosque will be constructed on a 2.5-acre lot on Hickory Grove Road in Big Flats and will cost close to $1 million. Initially, it will be about 4,700 square feet with roughly 70 parking spaces, but Marwat says he eventually hopes to expand the mosque and include a school. So to get the ball rolling, the Chemung County Planning Board met today and recommended approval of the mosque site plan, but now it's up to the town.
They will be going back to the town planning board in probably February, I believe, for further review by that board of their site plan. Prior to that, in January, they're scheduled to, the town zoning appeals board, I think, is going to have a public hearing towards the end of January.
We reached out to the town planning board but have not heard back yet. If the project is approved, Marwat says the tentative date for breaking ground is this June, and he hopes it will be done by June 2016. In the studio, Leanne DeRosa, WENY News.
The village of Horseheads is conducting a controlled blow-off of a gas well. The well is on East Street in the holding point. Tomorrow at 7 o'clock in the morning, the project should be wrapped up. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is getting praised by environmentalists and scorned by businesses for the ban on deep hydraulic fracturing for natural gas. But he says it was not his decision. Polls show the state is split on the issue. For 2 years now, Cuomo has said he'd let the health department studies and science make the decision on fracking. And for now, Conservation Commissioner Joe Martin says he'll issue the ban next year. And the town of Dryden believes they had a play in the fracking ban. Our media partner, the Star-Gazette, reports one focus of the fight over fracking was the town of Dryden. Back in 2011, Dryden officials banned the fracking process. Now, town officials went through state courts to defend that ban against oil and gas companies. Dryden's town supervisor, Mary Ann Sumner, says Wednesday's decision won't be the final word in New York on fracking, but she was happy to hear the news. Medical marijuana is one step closer in New York State after Governor Andrew Cuomo announced proposed regulations. Today's suggestions come after the passage of the Compassionate Care Act back in July. WENY's Nick Quattrini has more on this story.
Under the Compassionate Care Act, the drug will not be sold in plant form or be able to be smoked, but administered through an oil base or vaporizer, and it will only be authorized to those with a severe, debilitating, or life-threatening condition like Parkinson's disease, PTSD, MS, and cancer, just to name a few. Under the proposed regulations to receive medical marijuana treatment, you have to have an ID card, and the application fee for the card is $50. Once you have an ID, you need certificates to get medicinal marijuana, and these certificates can only be given out by registered and trained physicians. Now, on the other side of things, to become a distributor, only 5 registered organizational licenses will be selected for the state, and applicants would need more than $200,000 up front to apply.
They talk about everything from registering doctors to prescribe medical marijuana, the registering of facilities, the certifying of patients and caregivers, but they also look at a number of other things, including the manufacturing, the dispensing, the packaging, the labeling, the distributing, and the proper disposal of medical marijuana.
For a complete list of regulations, go to our website at WENY.com and click on this story. Nick Quattrini, WENY News.
A Lawrenceville woman pleaded guilty to a number of charges this week after a gun she sold was used in an officer-related shooting back in October 2012. The Star-Gazette reports 23-year-old Sierra Bennett admitted she stole a revolver from her mother, sold it in Elmira, and used the money to buy drugs. That same gun wounded Officer Tony Augustine on October 11th while he was chasing a car theft suspect, causing him to have a stroke and diminishing his eyesight. Bennett will be sentenced on March 19th. Her charges include possession and sale of a firearm, and that comes with a maximum penalty of 10 years. Cease and desist letters were sent to major retailers like Walmart and Amazon for selling illegal toy guns. Today, WENY's Samantha Potter talked with local stores and law enforcement to find out why.
At first glance, this looks like something that could be found in a war zone. But with the stroke of a keyboard or the click of a mouse, you can own one just like it. The weight, color, and mechanics all make them seem real.
I mean, if that was pointed at a person, and let's say a law enforcement officer, seeing that barrel diameter, he would have to assume that that's a 9mm or a .40 caliber and not a BB gun.
And that's a problem New York State Attorney General Eric Schneiderman has with these realistic-looking guns. During an investigation, Schneiderman found several major retailers like Walmart, Amazon, and Sears all selling these illegal toys to New Yorkers.
Any hesitation could be deadly for the officer. I mean, he's going to hesitate several seconds to try to determine whether he's looking at a real gun or a toy gun. I mean, that could be the difference between life and death.
According to New York State, any guns with realistic colors like black, silver, or aluminum must have a 1-inch orange stripe running down both sides of the barrel and on the front end. But another problem law enforcement are running into is the disguise of real guns inside fake guns. You might not notice, but what looks like a Super Soaker squirt gun is actually holding a shotgun inside.
I think the danger is the hesitation that might be caused to officers who hesitate to see or to try to distinguish if it's a toy or not.
Some toy stores like Imagine That and Corning choose not to sell realistic guns because of the violence they provoke.
I have no interest in anything that feels overly violent. I think there's enough of that in children's play. I wouldn't bring it in. It's not something I'd offer my kids.
Coming up, one major search engine is worth more than a country. We'll tell you how much money this company has in the bank. And here's a look at our Crystal City sky cam in Centerway Square. Joe's full forecast right after the break. You're watching WENY News.